Hey guys, it's Shane here at Tank Miniatures, and today we're going to be looking through the new Astra Militarum Codex, and I'm going to be showing you the best way to use your tanks in each of the detachments. Specifically, of course, Hammers of the Emperor, which is the all-tank detachment. So let's get into it right now. As you can see, the new lovely artwork that I stole from the community website. So yeah, I like what they've done here. The tank commander kind of looks weird, I feel, that paint scheme in the camo, but whatever, it's fine. Alright, so we're looking at the combined arms. This is what we used to have before. This is what I used to, well, the only thing I could really use. So yeah, you got your lethal hits, still your tanks against other tanks. And it's still alright. Now I thought, oh yeah, I could still probably use this with my old tank army. You really can't. This definitely needs to be filled out with a lot more than just tanks. Not only because you're missing out on, you know, a lot of the other stratagems and stuff, it just won't have the same hit that the Hammers of the Emperor will have, and I'll explain why in a bit. But we'll just go through how this sort of works, what you want to really be using. So you can still use your tank commanders. It doesn't really sort of hit the same though. Like you see with the Grand Strategist, that's still there. So yeah, buff up your other tanks, kind of good. You don't want to be bringing a lot. In this detachment, you want to be putting your tanks sort of out the front, because you want to make use of the Stolet Protector. You're going to get in cover, very much like the scene in Fury, where the tanks go forward and the men sort of are behind it, you know, leading the way. And it's protecting them, so you can recreate that scene, which is awesome. But yeah, as you can see, this whole detachment though is all about orders. So that's your main buff here. You can pretty much order things you wouldn't normally order and do a lot. It's very much, it's not about sort of damage. This is all the buffs. This is all about, yeah, bringing stuff up to be yeah, sort of better. So it's very basic. It's not that it's bad. I don't think you could really make use of it in like a higher sort of tournament setting. You can't really lean in, you know, heavy in one direction with this to sort of get an edge over something. So it's very much just used for sort of your narrative games, stuff like that. So yeah, you really need to, like Fields of Fire, you know, use a squadron and a regiment one. You need to be, yeah, really syncing it up. So yeah, using friendship. This is a power of friendship detachment. So yeah, it's said how it is. Yeah, mixed up like that. So we can say goodbye to the combined arm detachment for your tank armies. Now, Mechanized Assault. This one is fun. This is straight up just Chimera rushing, you know, the old Rhino rush stratagem. The, you know, 1 to wound when disembarking, that's great, because you could run this with just all Scions and just do Taurox sort of spam instead of the Scion detachment one. So there's a lot of fun things you can do. There's a lot of other ways you can sort of work with this one. However, you don't really want to bring much tanks with it, because, well, pretty much all the strats, all the enhancements, you know, it's all just the transports and the infantry. So pretty much what I could see you doing is maybe just bringing the Demolisher Cannon Leman Russ, maybe 1 or 2 of those, just to get you some better anti-large. Because, I mean, you can bring a lot of melters, and the melters having the +1 to wound when it comes out of the transport. So the melters, you know, going to be wounding on a 4. That's going to be helpful. So I feel you can make use of that a lot. You could, yeah, bring a lot more melters and they'd be a lot more effective in this army. But it's still good just to have, you know, a big anti-large sort of tank. Maybe just a distraction Carnifex, something like that. Maybe a Dawn. What would be really fun though? Just bring a Bane Hammer and just fill it full of Ogrins. Because some of the other detachments, you know, they say actual regiment, whilst this one just says infantry. So it will affect the Ogrins. A lot of the other stratagems in the codex will not affect your Ogrins, which is a bit of a shame, because, yeah, if you buff up a squad of Ogrins, that's awesome. So this would be fun, just bringing either the Stormlord with the Vulcan cannon. I feel you have enough anti-infantry already that you don't really need the Mega Bolters, because you got enough like strength 7, strength, lowest strength shots. You don't really need that mass anti-infantry sort of damage coming through. So a Bane Hammer with its Titan Killer, it's D6 plus 6 damage. That's your anti-large, and it's pretty big, and you can buff it with a Sacred Ungans, so it can reroll the hits. So yeah, you can just give the Bane Hammer reroll to hits. That's insane. And it's just there. And the Tech Priest will be fine. So yeah, you run that up. Oh, wait a minute. That means that will affect the Ogrins inside as well. I didn't think about that. Because it has a firing deck as well. Ooh. Ooh, maybe you do that. Yeah, yeah, you could put some heavy weapons teams maybe in the Stormlord, because that has a more bigger firing deck. Put some heavy weapons teams that are re-rolling the hit. That could be good. That'd be crazy. So yeah, Mechanized Assault. Bring a Titan Transport and make it re-roll the hits with everything. Oh, that's crazy. But yeah, you can have a lot of fun with this. Mechanized Assault is a really, it's an old school Chimera spam. To the older editions, that was a pretty solid way to play guard, and I think it's really fun. So yeah, don't really bring too much of your Leman Russes, just a couple there to be anti-large. You should be doing enough anti-infantry stuff just with the troops you're bringing to disembark. So yeah, Mech Assault, good one. Don't focus too much on the tanks though. Recon Element, I would say don't bring any. Yeah, it's one of those things. Because, yeah, nothing is going to give buff. And it's interesting, the walkers get the benefit of the bonus to the save. But the armored sentinels have a 2-up save. So this doesn't help them. And even the scout sentinels, it already has a 3-up. So I'm not sure if that means, it's ignoring 2 points of AP. If so, that's pretty crazy. Yeah, in cover, these things are going to be pretty indestructible, but walkers don't have that much damage output. Even, with the buffs, you can't really give them orders and such very easy. So, yeah, it's going to be tricky with this one to bring any kind of tank. Like I said with the last one, maybe just bring one just to demolish your cannon, just to get some anti-large. But this is very much just infantry spam. You want to be spamming your guys, putting them in buildings, covers, ruins, whatever, and just have them be unmovable. That's really where this comes foot. Yeah, maybe just bring one Dawn. Dawn's a pretty... Especially the new Dawn Commander, because he gets his own rerolls, so he can be kind of reliable on his own. But yeah, I'd say don't really focus too much on tanks with the Recon element. I mean, it speaks for itself. The Siege Regiment. This is another one where I'd say tanks aren't that necessary either, because I mean, this is Krieg. You just want to be bringing a Kriegsman. And whilst Kriegs, they do have good tanks, that's not really the their focus there. They want you to use the new Krieg models. I think this all sort of helps Death Rider. Yeah, Platoon. I think the Death Riders are a Platoon as well. So, yeah, you want to be going full Krieg infantry with this one and just running everything in fast, hard, and just going straight over the top, as it says, and just get stuck straight in. You don't really want to be holding back much, with the Siege Regiment. So, yeah, and then even, I wouldn't even bring Basilisks. I wouldn't even really bring Siege Tanks. They don't really get helped by this. Yeah. So, again, I'd be hesitant to bring much more than a few tanks that could sort of do what your infantry can't. So, just the anti-large. Don't focus on it too much. So now we look at Hammers of the Emperor. Now, Hammer of the Emperor, this one confused me when I first saw it because, the Iron Tread rule, it's just the extra movement. It's the automatic, maximum to advance. And I thought, well, that's pretty weak. Why would I want that over lethal hits? And then I sort of realized what it was going with this. You see, this is a detachment that is based purely around bringing all your tanks just for competitive play. This is to make it so you're able to do this with the rules for interacting with terrain and stuff and the layouts. And I'll go over that a bit more soon. But let's just have a look at the stratagems. I mean, the enhancements are pretty much basic. So, yeah, you give them more orders, objective control, because having objective control with a lot of tanks can be hard. I've seen that a lot in the recent games I've played, where infantry can just push you straight off an objective, and even you had 2 Lehman Russes there, that's just 6. And if someone's got a full squad of an infantry guy, your objective offed. So that can be helpful. The veteran crew, that's really good. Your tank commander being able to reroll the hits, that can be pretty useful. So final hour, whatever. That's kind of good though. Effectively, you push something out too far, and it's gonna go down. And you put it there just a distraction can't affect it, and you don't really care if it lives or dies. So you supercharge it for one final go. So that's solid. That's what you want to be doing, because you're going to have to sacrifice some of your tanks no matter what you do. Blazing advance, that's going to be super useful. Like being able to get in the right position and still fight, shoot, that's going to be helpful. The tactical withdraw is going to be super essential. That would have saved me so many times in some of the games I played recently. Just being able to fall back and still shoot. I wish that was a order you could give, like it used to be. That would be really helpful. Crash through, and again, just go through terrain. Now, every detachment that's sort of heavy on tanks has one of these stratagems, and it's insanely necessary. I'm now realizing it. I didn't think of it so much before when I'm playing mostly games for fun, but when you're playing the actual competitive ones, you really need this. This is important. Furious Cannonade. That's going to be insane for a Punisher, because a Punisher Gatling has no AP. So giving that AP 1, and like how I have my Punishers with the 3 heavy flamers. So AP 1 Gatling Cannon, and then AP 2 heavy flamers. That's going to take out a lot. That's going to really hurt a lot of things. Especially with how better it is to give orders now. Because I was always hesitant to give like +1 to hit for the Punishers, because I needed to be sparing. But we'll have a lot more orders we can give out with the sort of the upgrades to the tank commanders, and now having the Rogel Dawn commander as well. And a Blade of Plating is still there, still alright. I think it's too costly for 2 CP. I think the more defensive one to go is just use smoke. Just smoke it, and overall, the neg 1 to hit really affects, overall averages out. You'll take less damage just from being hit less. So I'd say use that over a Blade of Plating. So yeah, like I said, stratagems, really good. One thing I might have liked better is if we had it more like, the one I use the most is the Penitent Crusade detachment for the Sisters of Battle, where you can just pick for one turn give everything advance. So, because you're only going to be using this once or twice. Like once definitely, first turn, you're going to advance everything. Just advance it all up, take the midfield. That's going to be important. But then after that, it's not going to be very useful. Especially if you wanted to advance and then so you could perform an objective somewhere important. Because you're not going to be able to do an action. If you could advance and still do like actions with something, but no, even the if it had something like that, you could still do actions after advancing. That would be super powerful, and I'd say, yep, always have this. So I would have liked this to be pick a turn and you can advance, then pick another turn and you have maybe sustained, then pick one more turn, and you have feel no pain or something on all your tanks. Just something, just a once, and usually I don't like the just once per game abilities being your detachment rules, but I feel that would have been really good here. Because the Iron Tread, you're going to use it once, it's going to be very important to use it once, then it's not really going to be very important. So anyway, what I wanted to talk about here is how important this detachment really is, though. Because if we look at, this is the GW terrain layout. So you've got all the runes there. So turn one without this, and the GW ones are pretty good, I feel. A lot of them are pretty balanced, have a lot of good sort of firing lines. It doesn't feel too claustrophobic. But still, having the ability to just leave your deployment zone really fast and get into a good position is going to be vital. Because if you get stuck in the back, there's a lot of armies that just keep you there. And you can't get through no matter what you do. And especially for the WTC ones. I have really grown to dislike these a lot. I feel and I know about balance. It's really important you have this, because you don't want anyone shooting you off the board turn one. It's not fun. But what this does is it gives such a massive advantage to a lot of different types of armies. You're skewing it too far from one direction into the other. And while we said, yes, this balances things out so you don't get shot as much, but yeah, you're giving too much power to a faction that has no shooting at all and has other abilities to really hurt armies like that. But I'll go into it. So I played the game against this, and I'll show you that, where basically where I'm stationed, you cannot move. Because if you look up the top left, that's about a 3-inch movement, going through the terrain. You can't fit through there. The only place you can fit through is 3 parts. There's like 3 parts you can actually move through. Down the bottom, down the top, you can't move through it at all. You don't have the space. There's a 2-inch gap down the bottom, and there's basically nowhere to go. So that's the problem with a lot of these missions, is it hurts them too much. Now, if you're infantry or something that has fly, doesn't matter. You can just do what you want. So it's very much anti-ground vehicles. Even knights aren't affected by this, because knights can just walk through, and knights already had a strat to move through terrain anyway. So yeah, super heavy walkers don't care at all. So it's really only hurting tank armies. That's the real fun thing about it. So yeah, I played recently in a whatchamacallit. We had a series of games anyway. So playing I think this is just a GW one, so you can see the GW one a lot more forgiving. But you can see there, we've got some firing lines there. Yeah, it's not really very inspired terrain to look at that either. So yeah, playing against Grey Knights, and this was the old detachment, so very elite build from him. It was a pretty close game, but yeah, we were able to get a pretty good advantage, and the Dread Knights, they go down pretty easy to most gunfire. especially with lethal hits. This was a game I played against Knights, Chaos Knights. Really fun game. But again, we had a pretty good set against it. Now this one here, this was the WTC layout I was showing you. So as you can see, I was stuck. From the moment the game started, I was stuck. He was Drakari, and he's got all these incubi guys who can get out of transports, attack, then fall back, and then fall into the transport. And of course, they can do that through walls. So no matter what I did, I was always on the back foot, being pushed back, and I could never get to a point where I could really do a lot of shooting and push forward. Or I'd just be, swarmed. You can see the Scourges at the back, of course, can shoot and then move, and do this without consequence. So I'm relying on, my durability to really endure that. And I did to the most part, but again, it just wasn't fun when your opponent can just do what he sort of wants and you don't have a response. It takes the fun out of it. Like Sigmar sort of has a lot more funds where, you can do stuff in your, both players can do stuff in each turn. This is pretty much, I moved up, I couldn't see or shoot anything. That's the end of my turn. And then his turn is, alright, I'm going to come in, give you some damage, push you back, and then I'm just going to leave, and I'm going to feed you something just to hold you back. So this detachment would very much change things when, from turn 1, I'm moving up everything really fast, just taking that midfield, and then I can just push through a wall that people are hiding behind, and, take the ground back, take control back to my side. So, that was the trouble with playing these sort of missions. And this was the most recent one we played, and as you can see, it's AdMech. Very much a balanced AdMech army. I really like this army. He had a few of the Dune, the Scorpiuses, which, like I said, that's the best anti-tank tank in the game right now. So that was scary. They did a number on me pretty good. And again, as you can see, I'm just stuck. I couldn't really get out of these spots much at all. So, it's... what was the detachment? The detachment, it was short detachment on one side, big on the other. And as you can see, pretty much where all the objectives are, he's just hiding his... Like the top right there, he's hiding his guys just in the building. So they're there hiding, grabbing that objective. To be able to shoot at them, I need to get fully into the ruins to be able to do so. Not just, part way in there. You got to get fully in there or whatever. So it can be frustrating trying to clear them out. Now, and that'll be say, well, how about you just bring a more balanced army? Well, I accept that. Maybe this time we try make things a bit more balanced, because it is, they don't want you to just bring one thing. I mean, this detachment though, you gotta lean in, because nothing else is giving you like a buff. Like, it's not really helping your infantry at all. They have to sort of stay on their own. And if you're going to be taking transports and doing, like I said, Chimera Rush, just take the Mech Assault one. Like, all these detachments are just, they're telling you to lean in. So, it's interesting how to play this one. I couldn't really think of what else you would sort of put in this list, aside from just tanks with the Hammers of the Emperor. So, I mean, I'll have to try it out a bit. Definitely have to give it a shot. But, like I said, the codex overall, a lot of fun things you can do. Maybe there's some things, you wanted to try and, we're just waiting for it. Like I said, with the Hammers of the Emperor one, I would have liked it to have, like I said, something a little more to the detachment. But maybe this is enough. Maybe this is. I feel like if you weren't doing a competitive sort of match, it wouldn't matter so much. But for playing a competitive game, when you're using like this WTC maps, this is going to be really important. You're going to want to, you need this. You can't play tanks really without it. That's the trouble there. And like I said, I know it's balance, I know it's about that, but I just feel with the game itself, like I feel there's some ways we can fix this better than just taking all the power from one side, giving it to another. Like the overcorrection just gets crazy sometimes. And I know it's a game where balance is almost impossible. The game was never meant to be balanced from the start. And they're trying to extra hard these days because, you know, tournaments and things like that are so important for getting people out playing. And it's less about, you know, the experience. People want to win. People are trying, and, you know, they always have. But I feel it's a lot more these days. So keeping the balance is important. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens, what reports come in from tournaments where they're using this new Hammer's detachment. But, yeah, I think it's good. I think it'll work well. I'll definitely need to do some test games soon, but yeah, I would like to try some other stuff. Like I said, from when we played the tournament, yeah, all those games sort of burnt me out a little bit, so it would be nice to try something else. But yeah, I thought this is important to talk about, and how much you're going to need Hammer of the Emperor for your tournament and competitive play. But yeah, that's enough for this one. I think we've crossed through everything pretty well. I have some more thoughts on competitive play that I'll share at another time. But for now, yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye.